Yep. Radio promotion days. What's happening, everybody? Good to have you here on Tuesday, December 16th. Just got back from Raiders headquarters. My Pete Carroll interview is in the can. Very interesting. I'll save that for the monologue. This is the mini monologue. The Steelers one step closer to the playoffs. What else do we got? College football playoffs. NBA Cup tonight. I'm going to have to miss it. I got my night show, my other night show that I'm going to do. So we're going to do that. And that's it. Everybody knows what's happening here in Raider Nation. No bueno, not good. No good. It's been a terrible season, but we got a show to do. So we're going to do a good show and hopefully hear from you. Hopefully we hear from you. So that's it. We got Alex Eshelman, who will join us, and Levi Edwards will join us also. I'll probably replay my interview with Robert Turbin, the Super Bowl running back from Seattle. I did that last night, but you haven't heard it, so I can play it. And then we got some sound for some other things. So fire away. Let's share this. We're trying to get to 8,000 subs. You might say that's a good number. We got a lot of engagement on this channel. The people who are here, they're not bots. We got real listeners and bricklayers here. We're trying to get to 10 over the holidays. I'm going to be giving out some various swag to some people. We'll tell you about that as we're working on that, and that's about it. So let's get this thing moving today, and we're ready to rock. We should be on X. I'm checking if we're on X. We should be on YouTube.
Harris Chickens as we'll watch the LA Rams in Seattle.
Yeah, we're up and running on Twitter, and we're up and running on YouTube.
Sound on. KRRNR 920 AM, KRL Las Vegas. It's the JT the Brick Show. You know, obviously it means a lot to me being a part of the Silver and Black alone. You know, the history, I've said it a million times. I feel like I was meant to be a Raider. I love being here.
Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's amazing, opportunity, great community there, and great fan base. So I'm expecting a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of great times.
It's going to be all about competition, and there's going to be no easy games starting.
And now here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, hope you're having a great day today as we kick it off here on Tuesday from the flagship of the Silver and Black Raider Nation Radio. I got the tweet out. We're live on X. We're live on YouTube. So that means you should be inside watching the show, not listening to the show, unless you're driving. But if you're anywhere around the country and you want to watch what we do, check it out. We have a live stream on YouTube, JT the Brick YT, on X at JT the Brick. And we're also doing a lot on Facebook. Clay Baker's here. I'm here. And we got some work to do today. And that's the focus of the monologue. There's still work to be done. Even though some fans don't think there's any work to be done, there is work to be done on this Tuesday for John Matuzak as we open it up. So the Raiders, and we want to thank Golden Entertainment, our proud opening partner here. They fuel the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. Head on out to PT's. And go have a beverage. Go have some wings. I had wings I had wings the other day at the SG Barclay, not too far, right here. That's where I can take an Uber home if I have my Tito's, and it's less than $3 for an Uber for me to get home. I had some great wings, and the young lady who was the server said to me, she goes, "How would you like them?" And I went to Geneseo State University in upstate New York, very close to the wing capital of the world. I grew up with the best chicken wings of all time. And I said, I would like my wings hot, because I've never said in my life, I want my wings medium or light. I want my wings hot. If I'm going to get hot wings, I'm not there to get wings that are soft. I want my wings hot. And I want blue cheese. You should get arrested on Twitter if you ever ask for ranch. One of my boys loves ranch with this pizza. And I'm like, I have Grimaldi's, the best pizza in town. I'm getting everybody in the opening. Look at me, the salesman. Some guy called me a liquor salesman the other day in the chat. All you're doing is selling liquor. Yeah, we got liquor partners here, man. It's not bad. But when you order chicken wings, they must be hot and blue cheese. That's it. That's all you got to do. You don't have to look at the menu. Clay, do you know another JT trivia? You'll love this because we've been friends a while. Do you know that I don't look at menus? You know the story?
I think I recall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
years
don't
ago.
look at menus. When
Yeah.
I go to a restaurant and they give me a menu, I don't look at it. If I go to a steakhouse, I get a steak. If I go to a seafood house, I know what I'm getting, fish, probably salmon. And if I go Italian, I go chicken parm. I'm only going chicken parm first time in a new one, and I might mix it up here and there. But, I don't need to see a menu because what that does is it works out the server. I don't want the server to do any extra work. I don't want to say, can you tell? Now, if the server wants to talk about the specials, I'll listen to the specials. But you know what I mean? And the best example I could ever give you on this is I grew up going to diners for breakfast and late night breakfasts, like 2, 3 in the morning. And I yell at my friends, you got to see a menu to order eggs. Clay, when you go to your favorite breakfast spot, do you order the same breakfast almost every time? I do.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
What would that be?
The place I like to go is a Miner's Scramble.
Minor scramble.
But it's got a little bit of everything on it, right? With biscuits and gravy, bacon and eggs. I don't need to ask. I don't need to look.
And you don't need to ask the server what else. I'd like it this way. I'd like it this way. I don't. And the other line I use more than anybody is at a steakhouse when they say, how would you like that prepared? I always say, and the whole table needs to hear it, the way the chef wants to prepare it. You don't tell a steakhouse chef like Barry or the great ones, you don't tell a steakhouse chef that you want it differently than the way he cooks it and award-winning. No, he's the chef at the steakhouse. He's going to cook you a great steak. You don't have to ask for it a certain way. He'll make it perfectly. So I don't know why we're opening up talking about food, maybe because I'm starving. And we raced over here from the Raiders. So my role on Tuesday is I interviewed Pete Carroll. I just did that. Sorry, fans, we didn't have a fight. He didn't throw me out of the studio. I didn't curse at him. I apologize. There are fans that actually want to see some type of wrestling match or something. But we opened up the interview, and I like to tease the interview because the Raiders put it out first, and you'll hear it tomorrow and Friday. We'll double dip it. That the first thing I asked Coach in this interview was, Coach, you were very forthcoming in Philadelphia and yesterday at your press conference about having only 2 wins, which you didn't expect. What's your message to the team? And he basically told me what he would tell you. He never expected a 2-win season. He has a high standard. And he didn't hit it. And he admitted it. So do you fans want more than that? What do you want him to do? Want him to take out a dagger and fall on it? He told you. Season didn't go right. Didn't expect it. He's actually pretty shocked by it. One of my follow-up questions was on the running game. I said to Coach, the running game, which is not working, what do you need to see here? Because I told him 12 personnel, you put out a jumbo package. It's not working. What do you have to do with the running game to see some growth in the last couple of weeks, which is what they're here to do. They get paid to coach. The players get paid to block and run the ball. Apologize again for asking him, how are you going to get the run game going? And he said they have a wrinkle coming up. Ooh, that might get clipped. You get a wrinkle coming up against Houston. Okay, he's not going to tell me the wrinkle or you, but they're going to try to fix it, and they've been trying to fix it, and it's failed miserably. Absolutely the worst running Raiders team of all time, not even close. This is the worst running team in Raiders history and the worst offense, as I said before. So then I asked him what I thought was another important question. Kenny Pickett got his shot, which is my way of saying he got his shot. What's up with the quarterback depth? And he pretty much told me before anybody, Geno's a go. It looks like Geno's a go. So Kenny Pickett got his shot. Geno's coming back. But then my follow-up question is, what about Aiden O'Connell? Thought that was a pretty good question. Hope I framed it the way some of you don't like. I asked him about Aiden O'Connell, and Aiden O'Connell is competing. It doesn't seem, just my impression, I'm not putting words in his mouth, it doesn't seem like Aiden O'Connell is going to be playing much. I think Aiden O'Connell should be starting this game against Houston, but then again, you don't want to win. So for all you Aiden O'Connell fans out there that are losing your bleeping mind and want Aiden O'Connell, there's an Aiden O'Connell army out there. There is. There's a bunch of Aiden O'Connell fans, but the confusion in Raider Nation, because I got a PhD in Raider confusion, is play Aiden. But you don't want to win. So why do you want to play Aiden if you don't want to win? What about Cam Miller? I mean, if you don't want to win, Raider Nation, and you want the first pick, you want Aiden to play? Doesn't Aiden give you the best chance? I think that Aiden gives us the best chance to win. I do. I've seen enough of Geno. I've seen enough of Kenny. So I thought the obvious question was, what about Aiden? Doesn't look like Aiden's going to see the field. Maybe he does. I hope he does. I'd like to see Aiden O'Connell play. But again, here's someone in my chat who says, I don't want to play Aiden because I don't want to win. What a job I have. I'm wearing the colors today. I'm in the flagship station, and I got people bombarding me. Lose, 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 Brick. Lose, lose, lose. That's my life now. But I've come to live with it, and I can live with it because I have a great opportunity. I'm the only guy in America that sits down with a coach every week. Unfortunately, there's other guys who do it, but not in this format. But we've lost 8 in a row, and last year I sat through 10 in a row with Antonio Pierce, who couldn't have been anything but great to me, answering all the questions, a little bit more vocal than Coach Carroll is at 74. But Coach Carroll, he's answering every question that's asked about him. He's not saying he's going to tank. He's not saying he's going to throw in the towel, and he's going to finish off the season. We all know what's going on. Everybody can understand this. And then we got into Houston, and here's the hook to the monologue. Holy cow, does he respect Houston? Wow. He respects the hell out of Houston. You know what's so unique about the conversation we had today? I believe that Pete Carroll, and again, I'm not putting words in his mouth. I believe that Pete Carroll would love to have the same exact team that Houston has. I really do. Run the ball when you want to. A young quarterback on a rookie contract. He would want that. He has Geno, but he would want that. A guy as good as C.J. Stroud. An animal defensive front. He's got Max Crosby. So I told Coach, you got Donnell Hunter, Will Anderson, and Max Crosby. 3 of the top 5 pass rushers in football are playing in this one game. And then he told me about their linebackers who fly around and go nuts. Go nuts. So he has a lot of respect for Houston. It's also the last road game of 2025. The last time the team gets together, gets on a plane, travels to a opposing hotel, and bonds on the road, which hasn't worked this year. I'm sure they're all getting along on the road, but it hasn't worked this year. And Pete Carroll's legendary for his travel. You know that, right? You don't think I'm making this crap up, do you? You think I woke up this morning and made up Pete Carroll's road record of his whole life? You think I'm making up his 2 Super Bowl appearances and his 1 Super Bowl win? You think I'm sitting here every day, getting my ass out of bed, making up the fact that Pete Carroll won? It's a fact. He's won a lot. He hasn't won this year. And he's getting his butt kicked by the media and fans, and he knows it. And he was a gentleman again today and went through everything and talked about what they want to do next. That's it. We had a nice conversation after we were done about San Francisco, North Beach, the restaurants, what he knew, what I knew. A gentleman conversation because he's a good man. And I said, I'll see you next week, Coach. That's all. That's it. Not combative, not screaming, yelling. He knows where he is. I know where I am. We know what's happening with the season. And we're just trying to get through it. Just trying to get through it. And, it's not what he expected. And if you're a Raider fan and you follow the content that comes out on all different platforms, wherever you get your content, you know this. You know that Pete Carroll has been more forthcoming in the last couple of weeks. When we were out, I was looking back, when we were at week 8, 9, 7, Pete Carroll, when the Raiders had 2 wins already and the season was slipping away, it went from 2-4 to 2-5 to 2-6. He really thought he had a puncher's chance to save the season and get back into it. I wouldn't say playoffs at all. I'm not saying playoffs, but to just get back into it. Now he knows that ship has sailed. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to get to the end of the year as a professional head coach with a great legacy who had a really bad year and try to do it in a respectable manner. And he respects all of you. That's the other thing I think that I wanted to make this connection here, because a lot of people I'm not connecting with anymore. Not a lot. It's just a few. But the ones that are not connecting with us, they're losing their train of thought on Pete Carroll is a really good coach his whole life. He's having a terrible season. He's super professional. He has a program. He goes to work the same way every day. And that's all I'm trying to tell you. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not telling you he's doing a great job or not. I haven't given you any impression that he is. I'm just telling you how he prepares and what he tells us and what we see in the building. And I think the big issue this year, everybody, has been the fact that whatever they're doing, which is their model of how they run their program and their practice, that's the program and the practice. That's what's happening. How he does it has failed. Now, would he change it if he came back or he was somewhere else down the road with Pete Carroll, go into the lab, Clay, and tear down all his preparation, all his film study, all his evaluation, all the way he runs a practice, breakouts, single one-on-one practices, competition Thursday, would he change it? I don't think he would. But would he change the way he came into the season saying, I win 10 games? Maybe he would change that. But the point I'm saying is, Clay, he would not change the fundamentals of how he prepares a team to play in a game. And that has failed him this year because of lack of talent, injuries, scheme, some of the coaching that they bring to game day. It's all been a result of a two-win team.
Right. You can't change a philosophy on a Hall of Fame career. These are tried and true methods that he has always worked and he understands back and front. And, when people say 10 wins, we're going to win a bunch of games. Oh, well, also, we still have a choice to believe that or not. It's still on us to believe the perception.
Yeah. I give you an example. We didn't talk about it, but Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley coached at Oklahoma when my son went there and he went to USC. Lincoln Riley has one way of coaching. He's an offensive head coach. Coaching the same way he coached at Oklahoma, same way he coached at USC. He didn't change it. Lincoln Riley didn't go to USC saying, I'm going to change my philosophy and run the wing offense. I'm going to do that. No, it's the same thing. And how many times has Lincoln Riley made the playoffs at USC? No, none. Is he going to change his philosophy in coaching? No. Same in basketball. There was a guy named Greg Popovich. He won 5 championships, 5. He ran the same practices, took the team out to the same dinner. They had wine dinners. They bond on the road. I knew guys who were embedded with the team, like in with the team. Same way. Every practice, every dinner, every meeting. Then Greg Popovich couldn't win a game for 3 or 4 years. He didn't have the players. Duncan retired. Ginobili retired. Parker retired. You think Greg Popovich coached differently? He coached the same thing. So the coaches, they're going to coach the way they coach. Andy Reid. This year, Andy Reid missed the playoffs. You think Andy Reid's going into the offseason going to tear down the way Kansas City practices? No. And that's the same thing with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll had a plan coming in and it failed. And he's taken the high road on it. He's doing everything he can to show the fans that he's engaged with this team. He wants this team to get better. And it's very hard because with all the experience I have talking to head coaches and being around this organization, but being a sports fan long before I came to the Raiders, is that when you're losing so badly, you don't quit. When you're losing so badly, you don't quit. But this year, it's not about quitting. This year, it's about certain decisions. And I don't want this taken out of context and clipped. But certain decisions you make with your young players, your rookies, and who to play because of draft position. And I don't think that's going to affect Coach Carroll. I really think he's going to coach to win these last 3 games. I don't think they're going to win the last 3 games. Could they beat the Chiefs and Gardner Minshew? Could they beat the Giants? If the Giants, I had a pretty high-end executive in football tell me, quote, and I would never give out his name, but quote said, the Giants are going to tank better than you think. I said, ooh, what do you mean? No, the Giants are starting their tank better than you think. So, well, I mean, can the Raiders beat them? He said in bold, the Giants are going to tank better than you think. Well, that's going to be one of the most fascinating games ever played at Allegiant Stadium. I don't like teams that are fighting for the first pick overall. I don't. I'm actually very uncomfortable with it as I'm at the Torch doing the pregame show. I mean, Eric Allen and I are going to say, here are the keys to losing. Each keys. What are the 3 keys, Eric, we need to do to lose the game? That ain't going to happen. But everybody who comes into that building for Giants and Raiders, everyone is going to be thinking about the first pick in the draft. That's going to be fascinating to watch. Who sits, who plays, what happens? Instead of throwing on 3rd down, do you run it up the middle? I don't know. I've rarely been in this situation before, nor have you, especially in Raider history. So as they're calling it, Snow Raider says the draft pick bowl. Absolutely. It's the draft pick bowl. No doubt. You don't think I'm aware of that? I'm aware of that. So those are some of the things we're talking about. But with Coach, we just have a conversation about, it's the same conversation every week. Why'd you lose the game? What happened? Why did the team play poorly? Let's go to the next team. That's it. That's the way we do it. We think we do it good. We got in all the tough questions. We didn't spit violence and vigor. It's tough, and it's an honor for me to be able to sit down in front of him. I think he's a class act. He's a gentleman. He's in a really tough spot. and we'll see how this plays out going forward. That's the monologue. If you want to get in, you can jump in at 702-365-9200. Houston's great on defense. They're great. They give up 16 points a game. Oh, boy. Only 16 points a game. We don't score. We don't score. A miracle for the Raiders is 21 points. A miracle. Parting the Red Sea. Literally on your knees asking for a miracle as the Raiders to get 21 points. And this is the best defense in football. Top 4 in rushing defense. We can't run the ball. Stop. We can't run the ball. And they're top 4 in passing defense. I think we can pass the ball. We got Brock Bowers. We saw Trey Tucker. Jack Bash is pretty good. But in order to pass the ball's got to come out in under 3 seconds. And that only means a short pass. And D'Amico Ryans knows that, so he's looking at all the film going, oh, no. We're good. We're going to rush 4. We're not going to rush 5 or 6 or 7. We're going to rush 4, and we're going to annihilate this offensive line with just 4. That means, do the math. There are going to be 7 defenders out. We're going to leave in a tight end to block. We're going to leave in a tight end to block, and we might have a jumbo package, and we might even leave Ashton Gentian to block. So it's 3 on 7 as we try to get a receiver open. How's that going to work? I don't know how you do it. All I've said all year long is you got to move the pocket fast, and you got to get the ball out quickly. And I don't know how they're going to do it in this game, but I'll do my best to give you the analysis, the guests, the people to talk about this and what's going to happen along the way. So that's what we're doing today. There's a lot of other football news around the league. I want you to hear from Joe Burrow because I wanted to get Joe Burrow into the monologue. It sounds like something is wrong with him mentally. He's either depressed, he's beaten down, he's very sad is the word I would use. He's sad that once again he's playing on what should be a good team. He's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He lobbied to get him money, and they're a joke of a team. They can't play defense, and they can't win. And Burrow was asked, is he happy in Cincinnati being for that franchise in Cincy?
Do you still have confidence in the people in the front office and the coaching staff that they can get this roster in a place and this team in a place where that wouldn't happen next year?
A lot of confidence. I know how hard people work at it. We got the right people. It starts with players playing better. Today was me.
From the outside, Joe, a lot of fans are going to disagree. They're going to say that the organization's top to bottom front office doesn't have enough people or the right people in place. You honestly feel that they do, and why?
This is a team effort. You know, at the end of the day, players got to play better on the field. Today was me. I got to be better.
What do you feel like you could have done better today?
Everything.
So that's a very similar press conference to what Pete Carroll's having now. No one wants to sit down with Pete Carroll in the media and ask him about, scheme 12 personnel. Everyone's just about your job security, your life. How do you feel about this? Same thing with Joe Burrow. Same thing. Joe's getting the same thing Pete Carroll's getting. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you happy? Do you want to be here? All this stuff. That's what happens this time of year. Did you see Mike McDaniel last night? He should have got arrested by the police. All he did was say, I don't know, oh my God. That was brutal. And then Mike Tomlin's the best speaker in the NFL. Sorry, he's number 1, and Mike Tomlin was brilliant. So that's an interesting conversation that people are having out there. But a lot of Raider fans are talking about trading for Joe Burrow. All right. I've been getting in a couple of little Twitter battles with people because I reminded them that I was all for getting Aaron Rodgers. I was. I thought he was a knucklehead with a lot of his conspiracy theories and all that, but I said I would pick him up at the airport. You heard that enough, so I'm good. Enough people heard that. And I was the guy who wanted to get Baker Mayfield, and I own that topic. No one in this town said it. I said it daily. Go get Baker Mayfield. It's only $30 million. I was also the guy that said get Russell Wilson at $1 million. What a deal that was. $1 million for Russell Wilson. Who said that? Oh, that would be me. That'd be me. That would have worked out better than what we have here now. But I don't get involved in the current GM picking the quarterback because I don't know if this current GM wants to get the first quarterback available in Mendoza. I don't know. John Spytek is going to have a really big offseason in evaluating probably 2 or 3 quarterbacks. And some believe that Joe Burrow could be available in a trade to one of the top teams that have the first or second pick. The Giants aren't going to trade for Joe Burrow. Could the Raiders trade their first pick overall and their first pick in the second round and their first pick next year, 3 first-rounders, and get Joe Burrow? I don't think Cincinnati will make that trade. And then you got to pay him $50 million. You got the $50 million a year, $60 million. But Raiders have plenty of money to do deals like that, but we don't know what's going to happen. All we know is that Houston is up next. And man, they're tough. Houston is really, really, really tough. So that's where we stand today. Let's hear from everybody as we open it up. Alex Eshelman will join us, and Levi Edwards. Thor and Summerlin start us off. In Summerlin, Thor, what's happening? Hope you're doing well. Go ahead.
JT, what's happening, brother? I'm banging in, I'm a little bit tired of this season. I can't wait for it to end. But I'm also really tired of these fair weather Raider fans, if you will, whatever you want to call them. They tell me, oh, we're tanking. When did we tanking? Why would we start to step it? To me, that's just weak. Be a real Raider fan and want to win. Find a way. Obviously, I want to be able to run the football. Keep saying we need to. I know we can't. We have to find a way. I want to see what's up with this new wrinkle. We're talking to my friend Q today, and he said the only positive I can put in over the last 2 weeks since Chip Kelly's been gone, at least since he's not getting hit right behind the line, running game looks a little better. At least we're trying to improve the running game going into next season. Looking for positives. I don't know. I want to win games. I don't care about a draft pick because we don't draft well, and we're not thinking. We're just not very talented right now. But I'm never going to stop looking for us to win games. Again, people who are out there in Houston or people who were in Philly, the man is awful. And some of these people be happy that, are you supposed to be a Raider fan and you're all excited we got murdered like that? I mean, stop it. I don't know, JT. I'm a little bit fed up with a lot of the fans, even as much as the team. That's just what I'm at right now, JT.
I got you.
Brother, let's go Raiders.
Yeah, I'm not frustrated. There's fans that come at me every day and think I'm talking down to the fans or not. No, I'm just holding fans accountable when they bail on their team, and then they have a Twitter avatar that has the Raiders or Al Davis, and they just get ridiculously weird, and they come at me first. And I'm not bothering you, but you want to blame me? I didn't pick the players. I don't run the scout team, but I'll take the heat. I'm here every day. Always easy to find where I'm going to be from noon to 2 or on game day to have a conversation. And again, I think these are some of the best fans. The majority of them are some of the best fans in the history of the NFL. The Raider fans are some of the best fans in the history of sports. I'm a diehard sports fan, so I can speak that way. I know fandom. I'm a Yankee fan. I've been around the block. I've seen fans bail on their teams. I've seen fans get behind their teams. And it's hard. And a lot of people are going through some really tough times today. My podcast partner, Tom Looney, who just came out here and spent last weekend with me, he's like a brother to me. And we were talking this morning. I was driving into, interview Coach Carroll, and he has a way of putting everything in perspective for me. He had a great line. He goes, man, how lucky are you today to sit down with an NFL head coach one-on-one? And I said, yeah, I don't lose sight of that. It's an honor. And he says, yeah, you're not out looking for food and water today. That was his line to me. He goes, there are millions of people, millions, not thousands, millions of people today looking for food and water. And I get to interview a head coach in the NFL. Life ain't bad, man. The season's bad. It's an awful season. It's one of the worst seasons in Raider history. But you wake up in the morning, you start off your day, and you pound through it. And you hope it gets better. And I thought it would get a little bit better this year. I thought it would. Thought it would be better than last year, didn't you? I think all of you thought it would be better than last year. And then we quickly found out when we saw the team play this year that it wasn't going to be better than last year. And then we were holding on, hoping they'd win a couple of games. And then, boom, the ship sailed. And it was just a bit terrible season. And that's where we're at now. We're in the midst of a terrible season historically, trying to get to the end of it, trying to keep the fan base together, trying to put out some content, and to see what happens next. That's it. And it is a mystery for a lot of people. It is a mystery for a lot of people because we don't have the answers yet. We don't know who they're going to draft. We don't know the coaching status. We don't know the status of the personnel, the scouts, and all that. We have no idea. No one knows. I can promise you no one knows. Not that I'm the know-it-all. I'm not. I can promise you no one knows. I can freaking promise you that no one knows who covers this team what's going to happen yet. Anybody could predict the coach is going to be gone. You ain't going to get a juice box for that. Or anybody can predict the coach could be back. You don't get a juice box for that. But no one can predict what's going to play out next. Nobody knows. So let's talk about it. Eddie in Riverside, California. What's up, Eddie?
Talking with a couple of my Raider friends at work. A lot of them, they want to see Pete Carroll fired. I say we keep him. We can't hire and fire all the time a head coach. Because that coach comes in with a whole different mindset, and we're already trying to get used to the mindset they already set. And it changes the whole program. How are you going to go and try to hire and fire, and then we get Pete Carroll in, which we all know he can do things. He has his own way of making a team great or making a team good and taking it to the next level where we all of us Raider fans want to be. But at the same time, it don't matter what quarterback we draft if we don't fix our offensive line.
Yes, and
that's the whole thing. The whole talk and conversation, we go back and forth at work. They always want to say, "Oh no, we need a new quarterback." Okay, what quarterback do we want to get? If we don't get an offensive line, it don't matter what top-notch quarterback we get.
Yeah,
we ain't gonna go nowhere.
Well, let me tell you, I appreciate the call, Eddie. Fantastic. I'm up against it. I will say a couple things there. Here's what I can guarantee. I can guarantee this: the Raiders are going to get a quarterback, guaranteed. The Raiders are going to get a completely new offensive line, guaranteed. They have the money to buy it. They can buy an offensive line, and they're going to draft a quarterback. That's pretty good, considering this season, right? So don't worry about that. They're going to get a quarterback. They got no choice. They're going to get a quarterback. They're picking one or two, most likely. They're going to get a quarterback, and they'll get a completely new offensive line with like 4 new starters or 3 at a minimum. That's pretty easy to figure out. Then the rest of it, I don't know if the priority is going to be linebacker over an edge rusher or new safety. I don't know. And we'll have a lot of time to talk about that. That segment was brought to you by M-Ride, the luxury concierge shuttle service. My wife takes it all the time. It's the best way to go to Allegiant Stadium, bar none. They should give this company awards for it because M-Ride will take you round trip from Circa, the Palms, the Link to Allegiant Stadium. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting in the... You've seen those rideshare lines when you come out of Allegiant? You want to get in the taxi line? No, you go right to M-Ride. Reserve your ride at mride.com. Use the promo code PRICK. That's mride.com, promo code PRICK. One of the coolest companies I've worked with on the radio. Friends of mine run it, and they do an unbelievable job, and they're passionate about it. And they're expanding. They're that good. mride.com, promo code PRICK. Alex Eshelman and Levi Edwards will join us today. Your phone calls on the Raiders going up against Houston. Well, that's a hell of a topic, huh?
Wake up with the points of
All right. Yeah, Burrow's backtracking now. Nothing to do with Cincinnati. Nothing to do with Cincinnati. No, it had a lot to do with Cincinnati. See, people want to come to Vegas. You might not think, well, the Raiders aren't good now. They don't want to come. You could be right. You know, maybe someone doesn't want to play with the Raiders right now. Everybody wants to live in Vegas, no state taxes, and play football. You know what these guys get taxed when they go from city to city? We should be able. We've had Devontae Adams. We've had players that have come here. Now they've left. I get that, but players will want to come here, no doubt about it.
responsibly. It's holiday time at Garden Ford.
Oh my God! The New York Giants have requested to interview ESPN's Ryan Clark for their head coaching position. It looks like a real guy. It looks like a real guy. We'll see. Wow.
Triple zeros.
I think I better double check that one. So it looks like a real account. It's a blue check mark. Let's see.
When we do Alex
Drops.
and Levi.
Levi's going to be. They both are getting back to me. Levi 120. Alex Eshelman.
Huskers take on the Utah Utes at Allegiant Stadium. And one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
You can bet on red.
Alex Eshelman 1 p.m.
The hits. Just click off. This is where showtime meets game time. This is the Las Vegas Bowl. Tickets now on sale at lvbowl.com.
You have those Max Bites?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Which ones are they in the sound sheet? Yeah, I got them.
Okay.
Yep, good.
Feeling and glosses and
Boys jewelry styles, all at everyday prices, better than any other sale in town.
If Ryan Clark is, I don't have any opinion on him as an analyst and all that, but that's someone leaking some total BS about that.
And ready for you. Visit us at Boca Park, the Diamond.
Yeah, that might be
jeweler of the Vegas Golden Knights.
Vince Sapienza here with Morning Tailgate. I have got to talk to you about one of the premier sports lounges in the Valley, General Admission, Las Vegas. This is not your average.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real or not.
Smash burger to my personal favorites, the sushi and ceviche. Food made from.
Oh man, I got one more night on Mad Dog tonight, which has been my Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is 8 to 11, which is okay, but it's a lot, man. When you get to week 16. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, plus the others and the triples and the Pete Carrolls and the TV shows. I look forward to get to Tuesday night at 11 p.m. and then things kind of settle down. Yeah, the Donkeys are winning, man. The Broncos technically are the best team in football, and they ate Russell Wilson's contract. How about that?
Don't do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Only $59.99 guaranteed.
Okay.
Because don't just cut down, stop smoking. In addition, lose all the
I
weight.
watched a pretty good documentary last night. Ben Stiller and his sister did a movie on their parents.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah. Very good documentary.
Yeah.
It must have took them a while to do it. They went through all their life pictures, and Stiller and Mira were a comedy team, a very good comedy team, and about their real marriage outside and how they had to keep their marriage together for the show, and really interesting.
Keep the family going.
Yeah.
Barkley, here's his
Ted Briggs at a line.
appliance. He
They're
leaves
both
fast.
hilarious.
Oh, he was hilarious. Yeah.
From the ground.
Well, back then, I mean, right before my time, but right around when I was born,
And
you had comedy teams of men and women, comedy teams that would put out albums and all that.
Mike Nichols.
Mike
and,
Nichols.
lines can be buried
Got her
anywhere, so
name.
remember to call
It's huge.
911
But you
and
know,
Southwest
even guys
Gas.
on like on the Dean Martin show, it'd be Kate Medford and that Jewish guy. Like they were great. They were.
What was it, Franny? She was on. I'm trying to think of her name. Not Franny. She was on Match Game too.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she was on a team. Yeah.
She was on that all the time.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
Hurts. He's looking left. Pressure. Back. It's hit from behind. Crosby the sack. A coverage sack to say the least. He had time to throw as Crosby flies over to the Raiders sideline. His 10th sack of the year. And the Eagles are going to settle for a field goal opportunity.
Mad Max, Jason Horowitz on the call. Open lines. We only have open lines in June and July. Now we have open lines in December, which is kind of interesting. No big deal. Just want to let you know you can come on in and call if you have any topic you want with the Raiders, if you show some professionalism and know where the barbed wire fence is or not. But we'd like to hear from you on the Houston Texans game. What's happening with the depth chart? Because when I asked Coach Carroll about an hour and a half ago, he seemed to tell me that Gino's back. So Gino is looking to come back, and Gino will get the opportunity. So if you want the Raiders to win, Gino gives you, let me say this correctly. Gino gives you an opportunity to win because Gino's won many, not many, but several games like this in his career. Like Gino, in Seattle could go into LA and beat the Rams, into Santa Clara, beat the Niners. He can go anywhere and win. Geno could do that. He's got that under his track record. Aiden O'Connell's got a little bit of that. He beat Kansas City on Christmas Day a couple of years ago. And I think that Aiden gives you, at this moment today, as we sit here on Tuesday, December 16th, is that correct, Clay? Yeah. I think that Aiden O'Connell gives you the best opportunity to win. Would you agree with that?
It's time to turn your direction to see what he's got. And for somebody who's been sitting and watching and waiting, why not right now?
Mm-hmm. Because the thing that the fans are so concerned about is that if Aiden comes out there and throws for 305 and 2 touchdowns, the Raiders lose the first pick in the draft. But that's reality. That could happen. But it probably won't happen because he's not going to play. He's not. And number 2, they don't have an offensive line to even block for Aiden. The thing that I give Aiden credit for is I know that Aiden's smart to get the ball out because he doesn't want to get hammered. You know, the one thing you don't want to do as a quarterback is get hurt, right? You don't want to get hit and sacked. Aiden in the shotgun, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, I promise you the ball comes out. I promise you the ball comes out with Aiden O'Connell faster than it does with Kenny Pickett and Geno Smith, because I think that Aiden knows the weakness of this offensive line, and he doesn't want to get hammered in the backfield. And I've been really big on the topic of what are we going to do with Ashton Genty? What are we doing with Ashton Genty going forward? Do you want to keep running him into the pile? I don't. But Pete Carroll told me exclusively today he's got a wrinkle to getting him open in more space. I don't know what that wrinkle is. He's not going to tell me or anybody, but he gave us that clue that there could be something that could be used to kind of maybe get him some more space. I'd like to see Ashton have a couple big runs for him, for his own mental mindset. I really would. I'd like to see him. Speaking of mindset, Max Crosby is on Sirius XM on the Let's Go podcast. And Max was talking about the loss in Philly and how it affected the team and himself.
You imagine before the season, like, yeah, that's going to be a huge game for us, and we're playing to contend and get in the playoffs. But in reality, you know, we were not competitive yesterday as a unit, and it's really unfortunate. But like I said, for me, it's just about being tunnel vision, controlling the controllables, and trying to bring everyone with me.
I believe that Max doesn't BS anybody. He truly knows what this team's record is. He does have a level of tunnel vision. He's a leader. I believe, will be a finalist for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's the team rep for that. Max isn't going to screw this up and say something really controversial. He knows where he's at. Max is pretty sharp. He's done a lot with his podcast, The Rush, and what he's doing here with this podcast. He took over for Tom Brady with Jim Gray and Peter King and Matthew Stafford. He knows what he's talking about. He's talking about finishing out the season and having tunnel vision. More from Max Crosby on the Let's Go podcast on the injuries. So 2 big injuries around the league, Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons.
Seeing 2 great guys, great players, Pat and Micah going down, it obviously affects their team, their franchises, affects them personally. You know what I mean? Those guys work really hard. I know both of them personally, and I know it's devastating. Unfortunately, that's part of the game, and you can't control that.
It's a really big topic for me this week at night on Mad Dog Sports Radio about playing players late in the season. So what I sense is happening here, just my opinion, is that the NBA has been the load management league. The NBA embraces load management. Players don't want to play, they don't play. And the coaches agree with it. So you have a back-to-back game and you're not going to play. Even Steph Curry is load managed. Kawhi Leonard's the worst. There should be a statue in front of the Load Management Hall of Fame of Greg Popovich and Kawhi Leonard, the kings of load management. But what I believe in my role in sports, and being a fan too, is that the NFL is now evolving to load management. At the end of the year, why play your best players who might blow out their ACL and MCL and not have them ready for training camp? Why? Why play them? Well, you play them because they're healthy and they want to play, and they get paid a game check to play. Imagine if everybody in this league got a game check of $600,000, $400,000 for a game after taxes, and they said, no, I don't want to play. Well, wait a second. We just paid you. You're on a $30 million deal. You're on a $50 million deal. What do you mean? All right, if you don't want to play, we won't pay you. No, it don't work that way. So when you're in this situation and you can't get to the playoffs, Kansas City, Clay, would you play Chris Jones in Las Vegas? Chris Jones, the best defensive tackle in football, maybe the last 10 years, other than Aaron Donald. He's played the Raiders and crushed the Raiders his whole career. You're going to go up to him and tell him you're not playing today at Allegiant Stadium where you played in the Super Bowl? We're going to sit you today?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're a great player. You're also an asset. We got to manage the assets. I'm sorry, but that's how it is.
Okay, so then we can go around the league. And I think the guys that you would not play the last couple of weeks, number one by far is Joe Burrow. I wouldn't play Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow has been significantly injured a lot. So put him out there. And then Joe Burrow's hurt every offseason. The other guy is Max Crosby, but I know Max so well is that Max is going to play. But if you cared about, if you didn't want a player to play and have him for next year, who would be better than Max Crosby? But Max is different. I put him in a different category because Max is going to play under all costs. That's what he's going to do. So and then maybe another player or two, the teams that are out of the playoffs. So Tua, I think he is on the Mount Rushmore because of his past concussions. I watched Tua play last night. Why would you put Tua out to play football the last 2 to 3 games? They're out of the playoffs. He's had the most vicious concussions. So isn't that load management? I'll throw that out as a new topic. How do you fans feel about load management in the NFL? I believe we're going there. I believe that's where the sport is going. And it was never like that before. Walter Payton, Brett Favre played every game. Every game. Deacon Jones. Imagine telling Deacon Jones you can't play because you're too valuable. It never happened. But I think it's starting to happen now. Kelvin in San Francisco. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate you.
Hey, JT, thanks for the call. Really quick, popped in my mind. I'd love to see the NFL go to the lottery with the balls like the NBA does. I wonder if it'll ever come to that. I think that'd be awesome. Kind of must-watch TV for an hour. That way it prevents this whole tanking, losing out. Second thing, I think we have to get the backups in. I think the Raiders are potentially 3 games away, potentially changing the whole course of this franchise and getting Mendoza. I think if we can get him, everything changes. If you go back and watch, I think he's that good. His personality type too is the type you want to build your team around. He could be the face of the franchise. Yeah, he's smart, all that. He fits everything to a T. So we got to get him at all costs.
I would agree. Let me just stop for a second. I want to hear the end of it. I would agree. I would love to get Mendoza. I just don't know if it's possible. The teams that we're playing have nothing to play for. So it throws in such a monkey wrench that it's hard for me to sit here in December and say Mendoza. I just can't. But I'd love to have him. As of today, I'd love to have him. But if he throws 3 picks in the first round of the playoffs and loses, and there's another quarterback who plays great, the whole Raider Nation's going to sway and go, get me that guy. I know that.
Yeah, I watch a lot of college football. Looking at future Raiders. That's unfortunately because you're in the top 10. The only quarterback coming out worthy of a potential top 10 pick is Dante Moore. Mm-hmm. Dante Moore is 20 years old. And he's probably not coming back. If they run and get a national championship this year, Oregon, and they get to the finals, he might come out. But again, he's 20 years old, and he can't be the starter for the Raiders next year. They're going to have to sit him for a year. So it's Mendoza or bust. And I agree. They're going to have the number 1 pick to get him. He's going to go number 1. If we get the number 2 pick, this team can't give away our 2027 first-round pick to get him. We have too many holes.
Right.
So it's either Mendoza or nothing.
I wouldn't say nothing. Thanks for the call. I would not agree that it's nothing. Like if we don't get Francisco Mendoza, the world comes to an end. I want to get him like you, but I don't think the world comes to an end on that. I've been doing this too long to put that much hope into one player who didn't even throw for 3,000 yards. Right? And let me make this clear to everybody. Everybody. Arch Manning's going number 1. Not this draft, the next one. No one's stupid enough to not take Arch number 1. Nobody. You see the end of the season he had? You see his size, his strength, his athletic ability? It's a lock. Unless there's a catastrophic injury, which we don't root for. We don't root for that. We don't want that. Arch Manning is the number 1 pick in next year's draft, not the upcoming one. It's the biggest guarantee in life. That Arch, no one's going to be stupid enough to say, I don't want the nephew of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. I'm going to pass on that and let him drop to 4. He's going 1. Okay? It's a lock. So if you want your quarterback now, because the Raiders aren't going to get 2 years from now the number 1 pick. They got it now. or they might get it. So don't tell me about the quarterback 2 years from now. You're all sitting here wanting a quarterback. You got him. He's coming in this year's draft because you got a high draft pick. That's the way I see it. Papa Minch is kind enough to join us. Good to hear from you again.
Hey, thanks, JT. Yesterday, you and I talked, and I called in, and I said, hey, for once, why don't we, as management, just say, hey, we're really got to build from the ground up, and we're starting over again. And you made a very beautiful point of why that's probably not a good idea. Then, of course, I listened to Clay's show this morning, and all they're talking about is how the Raiders have now officially, in a sense, come out and said, we're in a rebuild right now. So anyway, I'm kind of glad about that in a way, because that's the only way that I can really feel that the management team is straight and going to really see the light. And a point I made in the early show is that the problem we've had in the past is that when the Raiders come up, and I know we had a couple candidates this year that they wanted younger coaches to take over, and they weren't interested in the Raiders. They these guys, and you understand why. Well, who do you have as quarterback? And they go, well, kind of nobody right now. And they like to go to other teams. They've gone to other teams, done really well. In our case, this year, if we don't get, I think getting that first draft pick would make some prospective coaches think long and hard before saying no to the Raiders, because they say, hey, these guys have the first pick, as opposed to the second or third. So, I think that first pick is very important.
So do I. Thanks for the call. I think that everybody would kill to be the Raider coach. They would, historically. You might say that Ben Johnson, okay. Ben Johnson was in the NFC North. He wanted that job in Chicago for a lot of reasons. Most coaches would love to coach the Raiders. They would love to coach the Raiders in Vegas and live in Southern Highlands in a $12 million mansion and have the life that we have out here. Most people aren't going to turn down Tom Brady and Mark Davis. Most. Would there be one or two? Absolutely. Most. Don't worry about that. Pete Carroll's the coach today. We respect Pete Carroll. I do. I just interviewed him an hour ago, or a little bit longer. Okay, we'll get to that topic if we have to get to it. But people love the brand, the history of the Raiders. It's going through a tough time now, wins and losses. Coaches would kill to coach the Raiders. They have since 1960. 702-365-9200. Thanks to our great friends at Modelo, the official cerveza of the Raiders and the official beer of the fans with a fighting spirit. Have a Modelo, rooted in the heart of Raider Nation. Drink responsibly, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. They are a proud partner of our show.
Joe Seafood, prime steak and crab.
All right, we got a short one here, or you want to double stack it, or
do the
destination?
Yeah, short here. We do like 3 minute break. That way you have time for the call. Get out of the
Perfect.
And by standard of hospitality.
Got Alex Eshelman at 1.
Caesars, Joe's offers guests an experience that is perfect for lunch, after-work cocktails, social gatherings, to late-night dining. From private, semi-private dining for both intimate and large party gatherings.
Raider Nation, it's JT. I partnered with Charles Woodson and his Woodson Whiskey. It's the official bourbon whiskey of the Black Hole and the Las Vegas Raiders. If it wasn't your game day whiskey, it is now. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast to the silver and black. The limited edition Black Hole bottles now available at WoodsonWhiskey.com. Use the promo code JTTheBrick at checkout for 15% off. That's WoodsonWhiskey.com, the official whiskey of Raider Nation. Please celebrate responsibly. I'm going to give you a Woodson.
Holidays,
Okay.
Goldbusters will pay you top dollar for your gold and silver rings, chains, and watches. If it's gold or silver,
Okay, what do we got going on in the chat? How are we doing in the chat here?
Street or call 725-777.
Yeah, these are dangerous topics to have, man. Dangerous topics, talking about coaches and future picks and all that. They're dangerous topics for a radio station. And I've been trying to respectfully educate some people, which I don't think we have a problem for most of the bricklayers, but we we're a little bit different here, that we work for the station of the team. So the station of the team, this happens in New York, Detroit, San Francisco. Like if you're on KNBR, you can criticize Kyle Shanahan, but you don't call in on getting rid of him. Now they're doing well, not the perfect example, but there's something called the flagship radio station. We are that. So we have different rules. Doesn't mean we don't think the same thing you're thinking, but we have to handle it a little bit differently. So I appreciate the people who understand that, because there are some knucklehead Neanderthals that can't figure that out. They're just that stupid that they can't figure it out.
72, your workforce solution.
Blindly optimistic as I am, I thought we would come in here and we'd have a big factor on this club, and we would be able to find success that we would be proud of. And right now, it doesn't feel like that.
That's about as honest as Pete Carroll could be. Right now, they haven't found it. Right now, they haven't been able to find the success that he wanted along the way. JT, back with you. Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. So here's what I need you to do. Everybody needs a bottle of this Woodson Bourbon Whiskey for the holidays. I got a bunch of them. The one with the black hole on it, I just look at in my bar at home. It's fantastic. So Charles Woodson has an unbelievable brand. He's a friend of the show. He's one of the great legends. You could be a part of helping Charles grow his brand. So when it comes to Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, you know it by now. Charles has partnered with us. It's the official bourbon whiskey of the Black Hole and the Las Vegas Raiders. They got the limited edition Black Hole bottle live at woodsonwhiskey.com. Go get a bottle. Wrap it up for a Raider fan who had a tough year, and give a gift. Everybody gets each other gifts around the holidays. Get yourself a couple of bottles of Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, and you will greatly enjoy that. It'll make you feel good, and it's going to be fantastic. Thanks again to Charles and his entire team. We really appreciate the partnership there. Richard in California, you're up next. Hello, Richard.
Hey, JT. Hey, so couple of things. I don't believe in tanking. I always will say it's not where you pick. It's not how you pick. It's how you pick, not where you pick. Okay, and that's important. Secondly, I don't really watch basketball, so I know you're talking about, would you call it loading, JT, or
load management? Load management.
Load management. So with load management, and then I got a question after this.
Sure.
With load management, I'm kind of on board with it, JT, just because, I know you brought up, was it last week? We're at a quarterback, so Rivers is coming in, which is kind of sad. I feel it could develop some people, right? You talked about resting Tua, you're resting Joe Burrow. Hey, it can give other people some reps, kind of develop some people as well. I think it can make the league a little bit better, in my opinion, because there could possibly, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that never get to play, never get a chance. And I get practice is a lot different than a live NFL game. So with that being said, I don't believe in tanking. Max is going out there and all of them. I do. My question to you is, because of your experience, I mean, you've been in the media for a long time and just seen it all. I do agree with you. I think the Raiders are going to draft a quarterback. I am not high on Mendoza, but it doesn't mean he's not the guy. There's a couple other quarterbacks that I'm curious about, but what I'm going to ask is, I'm not asking about their ability or anything, is the Diego Pavia. I don't know if you brought it up in your shows. Do you think his draft stock, not that it was high to begin with, but, the Raiders might have looked at him. Do you think it would be hit based on his comments that he kind of tweeted out? Do you think a franchise might balk kind of a little bit at maybe taking a look at him just because of his comments?
Wait, well, you said Mendoza? Did that what he said?
Mendoza, Pavia.
Yeah, he's out of his mind. Thanks for the call. He's out of his mind. He ran around like a little gangster. He ran around with a little gangster flipping off everybody at the Heisman. You want to do that here? You want to do that in Vegas where we have nightclubs? We got like 100 nightclubs with bottle service, and he's running around New York City with there's only and just flipping every. Imagine him running around here. I mean, look, I'll say it if he comes here, they'd have to have a sit down with him. He's 5'9". He's running around flipping off everybody. Johnny Manziel looks like he's 6'7" compared to this guy. Wow, but it's a fun topic. I made the biggest mistakes of my life below the age of 21, right? So I was a knucklehead at 15, 16, college, in my fraternity. I did a lot of dumb things. But Pavia running around flipping off the bottle service girls with F Indiana, that's new level. Alex Eshelman at the top of the hour. Make sure you're here for that.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden Industrial Hardware. Fast.
All right, we're going to be right back with Alex Esselman in a second. Everybody go hydrate. Go hydrate.
Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends. Have some fun. Always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
Attorney Matt Hoffman with Battleborn Injury Lawyers. When you're injured, you don't just need a lawyer. You need a partner who understands what you're going through. At Battleborn, our attorneys don't just handle your case. We walk beside you every step of the way. We meet with you personally from day one. We actually answer your calls, and we keep you informed. Don't settle for a law firm that ignores your calls and makes you feel like a burden. Choose Battleborn Injury Lawyers. Call 766-1400 for a free consultation. That's 766-1400. At Battleborn, your battle is our fight.
Gear up for the holidays and conquer that to-do list in a new Chevy truck. Now is the time to get red tag savings on the 2026 Silverado. Powerful engine choices, impressive towing capability, and legendary dependability. Or choose from other great offers on Colorado, giving you clever and convenient bed and tailgate functionality, plus outstanding touring for big adventures. This holiday season, it all comes together in a Chevrolet. See your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers.
This is Dr. Bradley Greenbaum, a board-certified orthopedic surgeon with Crevetti Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and I'd like to help you get your life back. Whether you're a top athlete, a weekend warrior, a junior athlete, or simply someone who's living in everyday pain, I have the knowledge and expertise to get you back to doing what you love most. My colleagues and I at Crevetti Orthopedics are committed to personal attention, state-of-the-art treatments, and most importantly, successful outcomes. See how our patients are living their best lives at CrevettiOrtho.com.
This is JT for Las Vegas's premier cigar lounge, La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village. You're going to be blown away like I was when I stepped into their walk-in humidor. Over 500 cigar labels to choose from. Plus, they feature one of the largest whiskey, scotch, and bourbon selections anywhere in the valley with live local entertainment 7 nights a week. Great place to watch football games. Check it out at LaCasaCigars.com.
How much sweet can you handle? Try 2 feet of sweet at Portisubs. Brownies, cookies, or the ooey-gooey brookie. It's dessert on a big scale. Perfect for parties, gifts, or game day. Order now at portisubs.com. Portisubs, home of the 2-foot. Now for dessert, too.
This fall, get in the game and earn cash for betting sports with the William Hill Nevada Mobile Sports app on your phone or tablet. During William Hill's Fall Rewards, earn up to $500 cash back. Between now and December 31st, you'll be eligible for cash back points for every wager made.
Man, how many overtime games do they play in? Jeez. I mean, every game seems to be an overtime game. Yep. All right. Good. Alex Eshelman.
Raider Nation has found its new home for daily Raiders.
I'm getting a lot of tweets. JT, I'm shocked you have listeners. You treat our fans and make them unhappy. God, I have so many soft people on Twitter, man. Everybody needs their freaking handheld, man. It's amazing, man. You know what I say? Sound off like you got a pair, man.
Sound off. We're that guy lining up across the team lining up across from me, and if you're not, space this. Here's JT.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of the show. Levi Edwards will join us in about 20 minutes from the Raiders inside the building. I was there today with Pete Carroll. That interview will post. He had a lot to say about the disappointment of a 2-win team. And that is not what he expected. And I think he's been very forthcoming about this over the last couple of games. He realizes what you're realizing, that this was not what he expected. And we're going to handle it as it comes at us. The more he talks, the more comments we'll have about it. But they got the toughest test of the year with their offense. Their offense is one of the worst offenses in Raider history, and they're going up against the best defense in football. You do the math on this one. It's going to be tough. Alex Eshelman, kind enough to join us, our insider, every 2 weeks here from ABC 13. And wow, I don't even know where to start with you because you're covering so much. UNLV football, NFR, NBA Cup. Let's start quickly with the NBA Cup. I went Saturday night and saw both games. I thought the product was fantastic, even though I'm not into the cup, the banner, the money grab. But I got to see my hometown team, the Knicks, play, and that brought me a lot of joy.
You think they win tonight, JT?
I do, and I hope they don't hang the banner. I hope they don't hang it from the rafters. I hope they hang it in Penn Station, which we've both been to, right there in the lobby of Penn Station as you walk in to the Garden.
Right.
But Wembanyama looked great when I watched him play in OKC. We got a chance to see one of the great teams in OKC right here in Vegas. How'd you like it?
I think it's fantastic, JT. And even outside of T-Mobile Arena, I've been able to do a lot of community events with a number of the teams who have competed in the NBA Cup, and most recently with the Knicks and with the Spurs. Both teams just so nice, such gentlemen who came in to help the community and be a part of this experience of, helping locals get free healthcare screenings for certain things. Free. There was a barber shop. There was a grocery pop up. I was able to talk to a number of the guys, and just awesome dudes. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight. But it's cool. It just goes to show Las Vegas is one of those places. It's just the city never sleeps. It's so much fun. There's always so much to cover, especially this time of year between the NFR and the NBA Cup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the NBA Cup, I think, is important because the players want to be here. And Alex, I think the way I think it's going to evolve in 2 or 3 years from now, instead of getting $500,000 per player, it's going to be $1 million. You got Emirates backing it. You got Vegas. You got big money. And I think the players understand it's a money grab. They want to play for money. They're going to get the extra money if they win. And what other city in sports talks money the way Vegas does, right? If you're coming to Vegas, you want to win money. And I think the NBA is starting to realize that.
I agree. We talk about this all the time, JT, and my colleagues as well, but it's just a matter of when, not if, an NBA team of our own comes to Las Vegas. I'm excited for that day, but in the meantime, it's so much fun to see the city rally around the NBA. And we also talk about this. Basketball is one of the foundational sports of this city. Going back to the Running Rebels. So I'm excited to see how the NBA Cup evolves here in Las Vegas. I know there is some conversation, of course, of taking it out of a neutral site, but I'm all for having it stay here in Las Vegas, JC. There's no better place for fun and for just endless opportunity for people to just enjoy sports and entertainment.
Alex Esselman, ABC 13. So you did something really unique. You talked and did a story on a Raider fan from Denver, a lifelong Raider fan, and he's getting some hope during a heart transplant. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, JT, obviously it's no secret you're an expert on the Raiders, and I try to follow in your footsteps in that, but obviously not the season that they wanted, right? A game losing streak, of course. You were just talking about their upcoming game. It's going to be a tough matchup, but there's still I still like to find the positive, and I still like to figure out a way to highlight all of the great things about the Silver and Black. And this, the most notorious fan base in the entire league. The Silver and Black, Raider Nation, you can't beat it. I met a young man, I should say, Marcus Martinez. He's from Denver, but he flew out for the Broncos-Raiders game a few weeks ago. He's been a lifelong Raiders fan. He was kind of, it was a family thing. His dad was a fan, so it's a generational team for them. And he had this horrible thing happen to him where he had a heart attack essentially and was able to come back, obviously survive and had to get a heart transplant. But through that experience, he said one of the biggest things that kept me motivated and kept me going was the Raiders and specifically Max Crosby. And, it's so easy to root for Max. And he said that he would listen to his podcast every single day. And Max is one of the most resilient humans. And he talks about just keep fighting, just keep going. No matter what happens, just keep going, put your best foot forward. And Marcus would listen to that every single day. He's
fully recovered. He's, figuring out the next steps of his life. He has a daughter, so he's really inspired to live life to the fullest for her. But it was amazing, JT. I found this fan when I was at the Raiders Broncos game. He had a sign that said that he was a heart transplant survivor, and even though he's from Denver and loves Denver, he is a Raiders fan and continues to root for them. And it was a cool full circle moment for him. So I was able to kind of snag him out of the stands and say, "Hey, can we do an interview with you?" And it came together nicely.
Nice. I just shared it via YouTube. Go check it out. Alex Eshelman joins us. So that's important because, as you know, and you're semi-new to the market, and you have a big presence here, there's a lot of negativity when it comes to football and the Raiders this year. We got to find stories like that. You find them in the parking lot. You find them in the stands. You find them when I'm at Max Crosby's foundation or whatever it is, or some of the events I MC. You find the positive stories, and then you report on that because there's bigger things than football and the outcome of these games. You talk about someone who survived and a heart transplant and is inspiring and can help other people along the way. I think that's something that all Raider fans need to hear about because all Raider Nation wants to help each other.
Totally. And I think, especially in seasons like this, and listen, I'm not trying to not validate the feelings of the fans. Obviously, it's extremely frustrating what's happened, not only this year, but the last for a long time. I'm not going to overlook that. But I think in times like this, it's always important to realize that the players and the coaches and the front office and everybody, they're human beings. There's stories behind these people. And that's something that you can hang your hat on and rally around, because I always like to say this too, JT. One day, the Raiders are going to be great. They are going to be great. We're going to get back there. I have full faith in that. I don't know when that will be, but it will happen. And those people will still be there. And I think it's important to highlight, the people who have supported them in their low times, because one day it's going to be good, and I know it.
The Cowboys and Cowgirls love the rodeo. I know you got some connections from up north. People came into town to see it. Looked like it was another raving success.
It was. I believe record-setting attendance since 2014. And then just speaking on another community-related and human interest piece, Exceptional Rodeo. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, JC. I'm sure you have, but it's essentially when rodeo and people of special needs come together and they get to learn all the different types of events and learn kind of how to participate in the safest way possible, but learn a little bit more about the 7 different events that come along with rodeo. And I was able to go to the Thomas and Mack Center and interact with the kids with special needs and the Cowboys and Cowgirls all coming together and having this really special moment and special day. And again, just that kind of goes along with the theme of what we've been talking about. Everything's so much bigger than sport, and the real meaning behind sport and what it can give to people, and just the smiles that lit up these kids' faces. And even for the Cowboys and Cowgirls, it kind of brings them new perspective on what their sport means to people and what it can provide to people. So really cool couple of weeks here in Vegas, JT.
All right. So finally, Alex Eshelman, as we wrap it up here, I know you went to UNLV football practice. I'm excited for Dan Mullen. I only have great things to say about him and what he's done here. I wish it was a better game than the Frisco Bowl. I'm all right with that. But, a playoff game, it's the playoff games and everybody else. The opponent, Ohio, that doesn't do a lot for me. I think that they should win the game. What's at stake for this team? I know Mullen wants to have a bowl win. That's really important for him after this year. What was the energy like around the team?
The energy was so high, JT. First of all, I walked into the Fertitta football complex. They were blasting Christmas music and holiday music. They were dancing during warm-ups. They were having a time. And make no mistake, they've got a chip on their shoulder because of that Boise State loss. Obviously went 0-2 against them this season. And Boise is just that team. It's that they're the team to beat, and unfortunately, UNLV is yet to get past them in quite a long time. So hopefully, at one point, they can find a way to do that. But they acknowledge that. They acknowledge that there's a big chip on their shoulder. They want to finish the season strong with a win against Ohio. Yes, you're right. There's really not when you look at the matchup, they're two very exciting teams when you look at the offensive side of things. I'm curious to see what happens there. But one fun storyline is that Dan Mullen's wife, Megan, she is an Ohio University graduate. So it's a little bit of a rivalry in the Mullen household. And Dan, of course, joked about it and said, we're going to make sure she's not, going the festive route and wearing a little green mixed in with the red. She's going to be in full Rebel gear. So I think the other thing, too, Coach Mullen he's such a fun interview. He knows what he's doing, right? He's an outstanding broadcaster in addition to a head coach. But he talked a lot about the importance of bowl games with kind of the landscape of college football right now and the changes and a handful of teams opting out of bowl games. And he said, I get it. It's a team per team type of situation. It's complicated. It depends on the program. But for us, this is so important for the guys for a lot of them, this is going to be their last football game. Yeah. For guys who have a shot at the next level, this is an extra chance to put their performances on tape and have something to show for. And then more importantly, just off the field, this is what these guys love to do and go out there and get it done. And a lot of them haven't even been to Texas. Anthony Calandria, Jet Thomas, both told us that yesterday. They're like, I've never even been to Texas, so I'm excited to have a little bit of the Texas barbecue and experience the culture. I personally really like Frisco. I've been there for a number of years for the FCS championship. So I think it's great.
You have safe travels. We'll talk to you again. Always appreciate it. Great work as always. Thanks for doing this.
JT, thank you so much, and happy holidays.
You too. Alex Eshelman, ABC 13. We added her this year. Wasted talent. Put in some new insiders here who cover the team. It's very nice to have a pleasant conversation on sports radio, not to be butting heads and angry. It's nice to have a pleasant conversation. She does a nice job. And that story about the Raider fan I just put out there. Also, my Pete Carroll interview was up. They just put it out on YouTube at Raiders.com. If you want to see that, you can get first look at it and tell me what you think, or don't tell me what you think. Just if you don't want to look at it, move on. You don't have to comment. If you want to hear what he says about Houston, watch it and hear what he has to say. Alex is brought to us by the Black Hole. That's home of football's most notorious fans. Over 40 chapters now worldwide. They got a store downtown, which is great. It isn't just a store, it's the Black Hole fan store. One-of-a-kind apparel and merchandise created by the fans for the fans. And remember, Black Hole members save 20% when you go to the store off of Fremont Street. There's no better way to become a lifetime member than to join now at theblackhole.com. Once a member, always a member. When we come back, Levi Edwards from the digital team. Levi's good. He's in the locker room. He's right there with Vinny at the press conferences and Q. We'll hear what Levi has to say about this. Been hard on Levi. He's putting out good content every day. We want everybody to look at it at Raiders.com. All right, I'm going to keep it here for Levi, and then we'll bail at the bottom of the hour. Levi, and then we'll bail.
You guys aren't doing enough. If that's the result, there's not enough being done. And there's a lot of...
Alex is a very nice woman. She does a nice job. Appreciate that.
I think those words during training camp when we're going to win a bunch of games, I think those are really weighing heavy now because that's the expectations that you created.
Morning tailgate. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider.
Man, we're rocking today, Clay. Good job. Thank you.
Of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
A lot of people are tweeting at me about Fernando Mendoza, Cisco. They want Fernando. They want Fernando Mendoza. I'm not used to his name, so I sometimes say Francisco Mendoza. Fernando.
Which, if you don't dig it, all you need to do is pay back the principal within a week, and that's it.
Bo Nix last 3 games, 6 touchdowns, 1 turnover, a passer rating of 101.6. Best in the NFL over the last 3 games is Bo Nix.
Your cash in person at one of our 70 locations.
I would agree, Cisco. I don't think we can take an offensive lineman 1 or 2 like Robert Gallery or Tony Mandrich. I think we have to buy an offensive line, Cisco. I think we have to go buy an offensive line in free agency. The last 2 teams to do that, the Chiefs and the Bears. 2 pretty good teams did it. I think the Raiders can do that too.
Legend choices, impressive selling capability, and legendary dependability. Or choose from other great offers on Colorado, giving you clever and convenient bed and tailgate functionality, plus outstanding touring for big adventures. This holiday season, it all comes together in a Chevrolet. See your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers.
Raiders 101 is brought to you.
Oh, man. Alex Leatherwood. Yes, Alex Leatherwood was one of our worst draft picks we've ever made. But remember one thing about Alex Leatherwood. He was the offensive lineman of the year on the national champion. It wasn't like he was a bum, man. What was that, the Outland Trophy he won? He won the Outland Trophy. He won the Outland Trophy. He was no bum. He played at Alabama and won the Outland Trophy. Remember, JPJ won the Remington Award at Oregon. You win the award of best at your position, you should be a safe pick, man. You should be a safe pick. Tyree Wilson's the one that's really getting to me now, man. God, they couldn't coach Tyree Wilson to another level. That's a shame. Been a lot of coaches here that wanted to get something out of Tyree Wilson. Man, it's tough. They can't.
It's defensive. Yeah. Different at
I'm going to ask you about that.
just resort. 3 Raiders away game in style. Then stick around for your shot at winning 2 tickets.
I'll have Levi call us, or did you call him? Okay, you can call him.
Code on your menu, scan it to enter your digital ticket. When the game ends, they'll do a live drawing to pick a winner because football in Vegas deserves a lounge as bold as the city itself.
Hey, Las Vegas, it's Chris Fox with Simply Vegas Real Estate. You know, I've been in Vegas for 34 years, and I know the market inside and out. So if you're buying, selling, investing, maybe you have a property you need to get rid of fast, I can help. 702-419-4346. You know, home values are still strong, interest rates are shifting, and smart moves today can pay off big tomorrow. So if you're ready to make a change, call me, 702-419-4346, 702-419-4346, or go to foxsellsvegas.com. Simply Vegas Real Estate. Broker number 100960.
Oh, it's a beautiful day here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff.
Score 0-0. Certainly. Real Coke taste, 0 sugar. Now that's a winning combo.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good thing.
crisp, refreshing. That is the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar is always on the scoreboard. Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste. 0 sugar. Gear up for epic football game days under the Vegas sun. Stadium Swim at Circa Resort and Casino.
All right, Levi's ready to go. Yep, I'm ready.
Cabanas. Feel the energy and catch every play from every game on our massive 143-foot screen. When it comes to watching football all season long, nowhere even comes close. Grab your spot at Stadium Swim today at circalasvegas.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit titosvodka.com.
He starts the drive under center with a handoff. Dopey play fake. Rolls right side to Bowers on the near sideline. Trucks the defender. Has the first down. He lowered the shoulder on a Dory Jackson at the 25 and picked up an extra 5 yards before former Raider Marcus Epps took him out of bounds. 11 yards on a brilliant fake by Pickett.
Jason Horowitz on the call, JT, with you, along with Clay Baker, as we get you ready for the Houston Texans. When the schedule came out, When the schedule came out and we're counting win-loss, we think they're going to win a bunch of games or not, whatever you did, on your refrigerator magnet, you started pointing at wins and losses. This was a game, and Max Crosby said it. This was a game like the Philly game you looked at and said, maybe the Raiders are kind of getting to the end of the season trying to compete. I didn't think Houston would be this good. I thought they'd be okay. I didn't think they'd be great. They're the best defense in football. How do I know that? I talked to Levi Edwards in the building today, and now he joins us live on Raider Nation Radio. So, Levi, before we get to Houston, it was so disappointing to see that performance in Philadelphia. I mean, not even kicking a field goal, not scoring points, losing time of possession again, 39-plus minutes for the other team. I mean, it's been ugly here the last couple of weeks. How do you see it?
You usually predictive, unfortunately. It has been creatively getting to the point where now basically these players they put in so much work into preparation and how they go about each week, their game plan and intention to do. You watch these last couple of games, and especially what we saw in Philadelphia. It was not in urgency, and there was no real sort of hurt, really, from anyone in any of the three seasons of the game. I believe Daniel Carlson had one snap the entire game. So he was pretty much had no chance to even put up points. So a lot of missed assignments, a lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed opportunities on plays on offense. The Texans still continue to break down. It's a really great day.
Well, what do you think overall about Tyree Wilson and the rest of the defense that hasn't popped yet? I mean, I don't watch every single play, but I watch a lot of the film after the game, and these last couple of games have been tough to watch. And Max gets a tackle for a loss, Max gets a sack, and I am scouring, looking for someone else to make a play. What are you seeing when you go through your breakdowns?
I think something happens. They watch the film because third two teams watch. They know what they're going up against. That the Raiders defense too much on tape, running off this know exactly where you need to tag. So you're gonna run away. You're gonna away from him. You're gonna and super dangerous or really honestly, it was very important who been getting a lot more snaps recently, especially with the injury to Tayu. Takes advantage of them. In coverage, they've been doing a lot of things to, throw them off. Really, that's what it comes down to. If you're just attacking the random week, that which is run scrimmage and linebacking sports, which obviously the linebacking unit we have are great in the run, but when it comes to coverage, there's been a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it comes down to.
Levi Edwards is our guest. Ian Rappaport reporting the Raiders are releasing veteran D lineman Leki Futu as he heads to waivers. So that's interesting. So they're releasing a player who heads to waivers, who I think at times is a good player that Pete Carroll talked about in the past, and we'll see what happens after that. And look, I'm sitting here wondering the rotation going forward at the linebacker position. Tommy Eichenberg, some of the other linebackers, and the snap count overall going into the Houston game and then the Giants and Kansas City. Should we be keeping an eye on the younger linebackers now at the end of the season playing more?
Yeah, I put him in years in general. A little bit more a lot more of these things like people. And two looking Tommy Eichenberg has been getting a lot from my linebacker. That's kind of where Jamal usually is. You see a lot. Obviously, Darren Porter, he's going to get a lot more reps to tie you down. You're starting to see a lot more of that youth movement. People have been kind of vying for, and the World Raider Nation has been persistent about wanting to see younger players, this rookie class field, like that kind of massive rookie class. When you draft so many guys, you want to see them to get on the field. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of them in general. But you mentioned the linebackers, like you mentioned, JT Tommy Eichenberg, I think it's a good against Penn State. He was with energy. He had a huge fourth down stop high. Anything flying on the line, goal, trying to tank this in the end zone. And Tommy said, not today. It's going to happen on my watch. And so displays like that, in the moment, it doesn't feel like it's a big deal, but it's be coaching, but there's going to be evaluators who are going to watch this tape and say, I need that guy on my team, even if they're here somewhere else. So, just huge play for him, and that's going to continue to make him be on the field for the Raiders for the rest of the season as well.
Levi Edwards is our guest. Las Vegas third down defense. The Raiders allowed conversions on 10 of 13 third down conversions. That's 77%. The Eagles recorded 93 total yards on third down. Just on third down, and the Raiders only got 75 yards on the entire game. I just don't understand the soft coverage on third down and the zone coverage and the cover three and how easy it is. I mean, easy, 77% for a team to move the chains on third down. Disappointed with Patrick Graham's scheme and Coach Carroll, who's the defensive coach, that teams are picking up first downs that easily on third down.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it goes back to the very first thing you talked about, JT, where we're talking about Max making these plays. Who are going to be playing? So when you're playing these when you're long and pretty good, pretty good idea in theory. But when you don't have an effective pass rush, you cannot get more people to run the line of scrimmage and get any sort of pressure. The quarterback is just there selling to make it hurt, queuing in the back with no pressure. And you find the open, which is not just the Philadelphia issue for week 10, it's an issue the entire season. It's been their issue. And so what goes back to, the defense backs in the league, they are very, very talented in what they do, but it's so much better time. It's so much coverage is like, for sure, the quarterback is actually, we can play with somebody breaking it. We can accumulate within this game. Not taking pressure in the other situations, which makes it easier for these teams to convert.
Levi, yeah, I would agree. Levi Edwards is our guest, Raiders.com. So Pete Carroll told me today, quote, Gino's certainly ready to go from where I saw him this morning. So we're going to assume Gino's going. And then I followed up with him on Aiden O'Connell. It just doesn't feel like Aiden O'Connell in this regime is going to play. It just doesn't. I think there's been multiple times to play Aiden. He played in the past under other coaches. And for whatever reason, he's not getting his burn, as you'd like to say, and get out there. I find that disappointing, but now it gets complicated with the number one pick out there, his ability to go out and win games. I just think that Aiden O'Connell worked really hard to come back. And with such poor quarterback play ahead of him, I thought he deserved an opportunity to play in this game.
Yeah, I think it really just what you're saying. Three, O'Connell just has a lot of experience within 2 years. He's against still every quarterback pretty much same time. Steelers. Spain, vacation with him. He works so hard to come back from the injury, and he's proven that he can be a meaningful starter at times. Bowling. Usually, JP play. Jails doesn't play this year. I'm waiting for the relationship quarterback issue. There's so many issues going on with the offense. Time. I think at this point now, I think all three or four quarterbacks on the rush, if you count Ken Miller, are being the same result. If you have any Warner and make it with offense, I don't think it matters at this point.
Yeah, Levi, you're a really straight shooter, and you nailed it right there. I don't know how an offense any quarterback can play well behind this offensive line. But other than getting the ball out quickly, and I say that every week, and I'm just sitting here scratching my head when they're lined up in the shotgun. So they're in the shotgun, ball snapped, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, get it out. And they're holding the ball, then sacks come. And the sacks are coming at an alarming rate. And I don't think it's that hard to throw a 6-yard slant. But as Eric Allen tells me, you got linebackers and defensive backs sitting in windows, knowing the only way the Raiders could get the ball out quickly is to throw those slants. So it almost feels like every team knows what the Raiders want to do before the Raiders snap the ball.
And I had this as well. And this is no mistake. Anyone out or anybody who, you know, she got to look, you know, and it's a very young group. Let's just be realistic, JP. Rocket isn't here anymore. Jacoby Myers isn't here anymore. Darren Waller isn't here anymore. Hunter Renfrow is not here anymore. You have young receivers who are still trying to find their way to create separation and become the next level of receiver you previously had. So a lot of times, in theory, because you can't go and you're going to share some something that receivers can learn how to continue to get better and create separation, getting off the line of scrimmage quick. It goes back to what I was just saying. There's so many other issues going on, and beyond what Geno Smith or Gene Pickett and those titles can do on the field. And so it really does come down to the receivers run open and don't throw the ball. And if you don't throw the ball, you're going to get hit because the protection's not going to hold up. So it's a lot.
All right, so Levi Edwards, lunch on me at Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers, One Love. Proud partner of the show. I'm a Caniac. I love the box combo. Levi Edwards will eat canes with me. We'll have a gentleman's bet. I think Alabama's the right side over my son's Oklahoma because they already lost there, and it's almost impossible to beat a team twice in the same venue. So I don't want any points from you. Straight up, lunch at Cane's on this game there. But if your Bama loses to OU twice in Norman, man, break down that program because OU left the Big 12 to go play in your big bad conference, the SEC. You're the big bad boys. We came from the Big 12. OU versus Bama. How do you say it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what something you're going to get. I'm not sure. You're going to get the guy. You know, you're going to talk the grades. I think the defense will be solid. I think the defense any problem against the problem where it's really just looking at what this do and how much creative can we get with it. You know, I want people playing finally just to bring the bullshit in them right. Like, win the game. It would have been so much that they got it all.
See you, Levi. I'll see you at lunch, and appreciate you buying. Take care, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Levi Edwards. We'll bring that to Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers, One Love. And Cane's, they're shipping a lot of food to Frisco for UNLV football, too, because UNLV football runs on Raisin Cane's. When we come back, my conversation with Robert Turbo. He played for Pete Carroll and won a Super Bowl as his running back, one of his running backs, and he'll have a lot to say on what's happening around the league. How about the Steelers? Are they legit now? It's going to come down to Steelers-Ravens. Winner move forward, loser go home. The Jaguars are hot. And what about Phillip Rivers? We'll get to that coming up next. Jeez. All right. Thank you, everybody. Nice show today. Nice show. Good job. Appreciate you. What's the rumor? I don't do rumors. I'm not a gossip, real Orange County housewife. I don't do rumors.